For the first time in nearly 2 years, USL League One returns north of the border as Toronto FC2 hosts Greenville Triumph from BMO Training Ground in Toronto, Ontario. Glad you could join us for some Friday afternoon action on ESPN+. I'm Joe Malfa, and there's a handful of players on this Toronto squad that were here 2 years ago, but all of the players on the Young Reds this season went through a very grueling travel schedule to begin things. They started down in the Southwest in Arizona. They leased that territory out there for the better part of a couple of weeks. 1,900 miles traveled. That would not be the beginning or the end of the travels, though. Then they go southeast to Florida, nearly another 1,900 miles, and they complete the trek back north to complete the travel triangle here in League One this season. They played a couple of games in New England, but now they're back. Nearly 5,000 miles traveled, 3 cities. They got the job done, and they're a team that is very happy to return back home. On this home turf, a lot of goals were scored for and against. No more goals were scored anywhere else than at this venue, 48 in all in 2019. And so far this season, Toronto 4th in goals scored with 20, 6th in goals against with 19. So the goals could be flying in today in Toronto. Now for Greenville, this is where we usually try to set you up with a player or a theme to watch. But we really can't because Greenville's a big unknown today with injuries and paperwork issues, not their full squad. So we'll show you the last time they were here. A 3-1 win over Toronto. Jake Keegan, the only player still in League One to score for Greenville in that game. Now he's tearing it up with Madison. So we'll see if they can replicate that success of that 3-1 win, even though it will be with many, many different faces against a Toronto squad staying above that playoff line for now. September 27, 2019 was the last time we saw a League One game at BMO Training Ground. A 1-0 win for Toronto FC. Can they pick up right where they left off nearly 2 years ago? 6th place Toronto versus 3rd place Greenville next on ESPN+. Referees, players making their way out onto BMO Training Ground. It's a great sight to see. First time in nearly 2 years, Toronto hosting a home game north of the border. No Arizona, no Florida. A home game in Toronto for Toronto. As we take a look at the starting lineups for both squads today. For the home Young Reds, a lot of the same familiar faces that are starting to really carve out their role in this squad. Garrett McLaughlin up top. He's in that Golden Boot race. He's 4 goals behind Marius Lomas, his counterpart today. We'll see if McLaughlin against Lomas can start clawing his way back into that race. And Luca Petrasso, he was here back in 2019 when this team last played on this field, and he is looking to once again get back into the mix offensively from his left back position. Here's the look for Greenville. It's a short bench, and in the lineup, A lot of familiar faces missing. They will rely on some new pieces in different places. Look at Tyler Polak playing center back. That's a new wrinkle. But as long as Lomas is out there, they have a chance to score goals with Morrell and Walker underneath for John Harkes this afternoon here in Canada. A look at the standings shows you the implications of this game. Union Omaha, Chattanooga right now squarely above Greenville, and Greenville safely above the playoff line, but things getting tighter. If Toronto wins today, all of a sudden Toronto is just 1 point behind Greenville, and Toronto themselves right above that playoff line in 6th place entering play today. Very crowded table from 4th place down to 11th place, separated by just 5 points here in League One. Greenville wearing their new black alternate kits on the road today. Brad Dobrow, the official, waiting to get things underway. Toronto in the home Reds from left to right. Greenville in the road Blacks from right to left. Lomas, ball at his feet, wind whipping as it always does here at BMO Training Ground. And here we go for the first time since late September of 2019, USL League One soccer in Canada. Toronto coming off of a couple of losses against New England, 1-0 on the road, both of those. They had a big win in there as well against North Carolina. Greenville, it's been uncharacteristic for them of late. Only 1 win in the month of July, 3-0 on the road against New England. Outside of that, a couple of draws, and they're coming off a 1-1 draw against Chattanooga. Franklin shakes through. Polak over to greet him, and a foul early on. Set piece opportunity for Toronto. Thompson looked like he wanted to take that quickly, but from here, you want to set this up for Mike Munoz's squad and get a good look at a set piece. Stephen Yates stands over it. Not many trees or buildings in the area, so the wind just comes through. See what it does to this ball as it comes in. Doesn't really get high enough. Low line drive, and it's cleared by Polak. That one lofted up into the swirling winds. And the flag pops up for offside. And now, that's not something that we see typically of Toronto. Tremendous advantage, very quirky stat in terms of offside here on this field. Look at that, the difference between offside for and offside against, 63 the difference for Toronto in 2019, meaning 63 more offside calls against the opponents than themselves. You see no other team even close. 18 offside calls against Toronto, 81 against opponents on home games on this field. Never seen a stat like that in any league, any country across the world. They have quite a quirky home field advantage in that sense. And the field itself, they're not familiar with it yet because they haven't been able to play on it much. Coach Mike Munoz said this was the first week they really got to settle in on this field and start getting used to the surface. It's a very hard, fast turf. They train on the grass field behind this game field. They stepped onto this field this week for the first time. Some players, again, holdovers from 2019, familiar with it. But by and large, a lot of new faces in this squad playing a game, competitive match on this field for the first time. So maybe that home field advantage will settle in over the next couple of games, but maybe not quite yet today. Turf is matted down, very slick. Ball moves very quickly, and it's very windy when it gets in the air. And that's why it yields so many goals, as we mentioned, top of the broadcast. This field had the most goals scored on it of any field back in 2019. John Harkes talked about how tough it's been early on this season, navigating the injuries. Now traveling north of the border, had to navigate some paperwork issues. Some players couldn't make the trip. But still plenty of firepower out there to get a result. Booth. That one maybe taken a little bit by the wind. Gavilanes couldn't keep it in. Listed as a 3-5-2 today for Greenville. And there's a look at the wind 13 miles an hour, gusts up to 22. But a beautiful day otherwise, 70 degrees. Not much of a chance of rain. Fricky tries again over the top, hangs up in the wind again. Physical battle, and it's a foul. Going against Jacob Goodall. Kobe Franklin, someone that Mike Munoz has been happy with of late. His outside backs really dictate things. Luca Petrasso on the left, Kobe Franklin on the right. So much of the attack flows through them as they try to get crosses in. The weak link so far has been the middle of the midfield. Somewhere that he wishes he had a little bit more depth. Has a lot of players who are good on the top line and good on the wings, but none of them natural central midfielders except for Dante Campbell, who's in the middle again today. Made his first start of the season after 8 appearances as a sub last time out against New England. Played well enough to earn that starting role again today. On the ball now. Ball, it's through. Out wide for Franklin. And it was last off of a black jersey. At least everybody thought so. So did Mike Munoz. Franklin was ready to take the throw. The assistant referee was jogging into place down that near sideline. And then the point goes the other way. Gavilanes dispossessed by Franklin. All the way back for Caleb Patterson-Sewell, the veteran goalkeeper who doubles as the goalkeeper coach, gets to start today. He has plenty of experience on this field in League One and the USL Championship. Long throw from Franklin. Space in the middle for Campbell. But he puts it well wide of Antonoglu. Since 1947, Select has been the leader in soccer ball quality and innovation. Select is the official ball supplier of USL League One and many of the elite leagues throughout Europe. For the latest Select products and special offers, please visit www.selectsportamerica.com. Walker, good challenge put in by Paulitz. They got to the ball at the same time, and there's the first offside against Greenville. How many times will we see that today alone and as this season goes along? Again, 2019, 81 offside against Toronto opponents, only 18 against Toronto. Mike Munoz harped on how happy they are to be playing in front of family, friends, girlfriends, wives, mothers, fathers again. These players have been on the road, southwest Arizona, southeast Florida, away from their loved ones. And now today, this is the first time that a lot of their loved ones are able to watch them play a competitive soccer match in nearly 2 years. And a yellow card goes against Fricky. Not sure what it's for. I don't think he's sure what it's for either. Corner coming for Toronto. Kobe Franklin to take it. Gathering of players around Dallas J, not giving him much room to roam. Franklin curls it in. Didn't make it past Goodall. And a chance to break. Up to Ibarra. Gavilanes streaking through the middle, as is Morel. Ibarra cuts back inside, taken down, and a foul. Antonoglu, the guilty party. And a yellow card issued as well. Pardon me, no yellow card. Kevin Paulet's down right now, getting some attention. We take a look back at that yellow card issued to Fricky. See if we can see what it's for. Maybe a little shove at the end of the play there. Maybe words exchanged. Didn't see a lot. But whatever it was enough. Brad Dobrow reaches for the pocket. Paulitz has been terrific on the back line for Toronto. Mike Munoz has had to use a lot of different combos on the back line, partly out of necessity when they had that early season stretch of playing a game every third day. He's a guy who's been around the USL and League One and USL Championship with Red Bulls 2, Hartford, and with Greenville. Through all the changes that were made to keep the legs fresh on the back line, Paulitz was the one who was getting the most of the playing minutes. Where's the captain's armband? When Caleb Patterson-Sewell's not in the starting lineup for Toronto at 34 years of age, Kevin Paulitz becomes the oldest player at 25. The veteran presence on that back line. Ready for play again. Morrell sends it in, back post. Two fast speeds by everybody. There might have been a foul in the middle anyway, with Fricky making some contact. As Paulitz was taken off, they were looking at his face. Seemed like he had quite the shiner on the right side. The right eye of his made some contact in there somewhere. Alex Morrell looking to find the form that he had the last couple of seasons, especially last year. 5 goals, 6 assists, and 16 starts. First team all League One. Garrett McLaughlin sees that one too far out in front into the arms of Dallas J. And John Harks really talked a lot about Alex Morrell this week. Early season, he wasn't making the same runs at defenders with the same confidence that he had last year. Took him a little bit to get back into that form, and now he's finally discovered it again. The assists and the goals haven't followed suit just quite yet, but he's starting to take players on the way he did last year and the year before that. And with that form will come the stats, believes John Harks. At least he hopes so. A team that is looking to get back to its winning ways. Just one win this month against New England. And they had a stretch of a couple games before that where they didn't win either. Uncharacteristic slump for Greenville Triumph. And it's hard to fault them for anything, just the physical and mental grind of this season. Still, of course, going through some protocols. On top of that, all of the injuries that have just mounted. Back for Jay under pressure. John Harks pointed out that at least 14 players have at some point missed a game due to injury this year for a team that's 14 games into the season. Ibarra turns. He's been tricky with the ball at his feet. A couple of times it's gone over his way. And in a sea of red jerseys, comes away with the throw for his squad. August is USL Supporters Month, and we want to hear from you. Visit USLLeague1.com/supporters-month for more information on how you can get involved and have a chance to be featured as the supporter of the week. Campbell taken down cleanly, says Brad Dobrow. Andrew Booth the challenge. Now it's Walker cutting it across. Patterson Sewell there. A chance to counter the other way for Toronto. Booth back for Polak. Just weird seeing Polak on that portion of the field. One of the top left backs in the league the last couple of seasons. Today playing as the middleman in a three-man back line. Kept in by Gavilanes. Gets a ball in front. Nobody making the run centrally. Kept alive by Murillo. Now it's Morel. Morel puts a ball in towards Lomas. Got underneath it. Looking for his 13th goal of the year. Leading the Golden Boot race with 12 right now. Second time Morel has put a dangerous ball in. Lomas, 26 years old. Spent the last 3 years in USL Championship with North Carolina. Quarter hour gone from BMO Training Ground. Joe Malfa here with you on ESPN Plus. First time we are back north of the border for USL League One action in just under 2 years. September 27th, the last time Toronto played a home game here. Chipped up by Jay, running into it. Thompson, nearly a turnover on the back. Gavilanes. Lomas running onto it. Jacob Goodall has been floating in that midfield. Not enough weight on that pass. Morel gets caught up in Lomas's feet. Otherwise, he had some space there. Kobe Franklin, great ball into McLaughlin. And Dallas J made the stop. Perfect ball with the weight on it over the top. Thompson, head of steam, finds Carlini. Carlini, dangerous ball across, backside, and the flag went up in the end. But McLaughlin, twice in a couple of minutes, threatening that Greenville back line. Just missed it. Again, wouldn't have counted. Flag popped up. But Toronto getting closer and closer. Carlini taken down. Seemed like Brad Dobrow wanted to give the advantage if Campbell would turn into space, but blew it dead right away once that did not occur. Mike Munoz sounded like a proud father when he was talking about this Toronto squad in our chat this week. Could not say enough about how they persevered through all of the trials, tribulations, and travels of the early season, playing away from home, not seeing their family, not seeing their friends, all day, all soccer, every day, and just a grueling physical toll put on the bodies, playing every third day for the better part of a month. To get through that and get back home at this juncture of the season and be in 6th place above the playoff line, a remarkable feat for this squad, and it gives them a great launching pad into the second half of the season to try and earn that playoff spot, get into the postseason, something they really set as a goal beginning of this season. They haven't done it as a franchise before in USL. They want to do it now, and it's right there in front of them. Coming into the season, of course, as an MLS 2 side, a lot of emphasis is put on development, trying to groom guys to make MLS rosters and contribute to that squad. But now, where they are, the scale tilting a little bit to focusing a lot more on winning games and focus on making the postseason. As Mike Munoz put it, they have to learn not only how to play, but they have to learn how to win. And it's a great time now to learn how to win and get into the crucible of a playoff race, come out on top. Greenville's been there, done that, battle-tested, made the final in 2019, crowned champions in 2020. As they start to get guys back healthy, can they recapture the form they had down the stretch of last season? They're right there at the top of the table still, but they're right now teetering on the edge. On one hand, they're a game behind Omaha, Chattanooga, above them at the top of the table. On the other hand, if they give up the 3 points to Toronto today, they're just 1 point ahead of Toronto and in danger of falling back into that very crowded middle pack. So it seems like there's a fork in the road right now for the Greenville Triumph at this stage of the season. Franklin, good ball in. It troubles Dallas J. Couldn't get a read on it with the wind. Touched on it earlier, 13 miles an hour, gusts up to 22. You can hear it on our microphones. You can see it on the tall grass and trees in the background. Unsure of this one in the end, but thankful to watch it sail over the crossbar. Great move down the flank. Opportunity for Petrasso. Sent away by Goodall. Had a player at the back post. It was Kosi Thompson. Ibarra, 2-on-1, brewing with Lomas. Ibarra across, finds Morel. Morel, the shot is blocked. Dante Campbell in the way of it. Such a pesky central midfielder. And Mike Munoz is very happy earned a starting role. Booth across. Into the hands of Patterson Sewell. Over 20 minutes gone. An even battle so far. Greenville, slight edge in the possession, 53%. Officially one shot apiece. Franklin. Carlini. Back into Franklin. Mike Munoz tweaked the formation last time out for Toronto. Switched to a 3-5-2 to see what that would do for the midfield. converted back to a 4-3-3 this time around. That sometimes looks like a 4-4-2. He felt that look, the 3-5-2, would help them out again in the middle, where the weak link really is right now, as they're waiting for a central midfielder to emerge and really take the mantle. Dante Campbell has done that, though, it seems. Foul goes against Kurich. Good all. Gavilanes makes the run to the touchline. It's back for Polak. Good all. Tried to give and go with Gavilanes. First pass was a little bit askew. Polak wins it back. Now Ibarra. Ibarra, the scissor. Gavilanes across. Lomas! Saved by Patterson Sewell. Lomas can't believe it. Robbed at the doorstep of his 13th of the season. Gavilanes, perfectly weighted ball in. Lomas did what he could do, as your coach too, snapped it right down into the ground. Somehow, some way, Patterson Sewell, his momentum going one way, got a touch on it the other way. A corner, the result. Greenville doesn't threaten, but a chance to get a second ball in as Walker regathers. Gavilanes to Goodall. That one just out for a throw. Goodall looked like he wanted to launch one into the box, but played quickly as an option showed. All the way back to Dallas J. Greenville settling into a rhythm. They didn't get the goal on that header from Lomas, but just seeing a chance come that close can give a team a wave of confidence and start tilting things in their favor as momentum slides their way. And they needed something like that after the couple of chances they yielded Toronto at the other end just moments prior. Morel wins it. Out to Ibarra. Back to Morel. Morel stopped at the line. It was Franklin coming across to help his keeper. Still alive for Gavilanes. Sent in backside, headed out to safety. Corner coming. Claps all around from the Greenville players. They are knocking on the door. Morel the shot. Franklin helps out his keeper. Corner clipped in. Yates nods it away. Booth keeps it alive. Morrell down the flank again. He's been lively. Cuts it back. Ibarra. Lofted all the way across. Rather Gavilanes on the other side. Ibarra with it here. Now Booth. Booth, the shot curling. Took a touch from Lomas. Patterson Sewell made the stop. How has he managed to keep this 0-0? The slightest of redirects from Lomas. And he reacted to it in time. Half an hour gone from BMO Training Ground. Joe Malfa here with you on ESPN+. Greenville and Toronto scoreless, but chances galore both ways. Dallas Jays made a couple of stops. Caleb Patterson Sewell, the veteran who single-handedly raises the average age of this Toronto club by a couple of years with a couple of highlight reel saves on his end. Patterson Sewell has played for 14 pro teams in his career. 34 years old from Hendersonville, Tennessee. Might have to come up big again. Morrell to the end line. Morrell all the way across. This one a lot easier for Patterson Sewell. A look back at that last chance here. Booth's shot might have been earmarked for the back post. He just reacted to that, not with the hands, but saving it with the face, it looked like, on the header from Lomas. Just get your body in the way and keep it out of the net any way you can. Doubles as the goalkeeper coach. I'm sure he looked over to the sideline to the young goalkeepers on the bench and said, that's exactly what I meant to do. Save it with your face. Get in the right position and good things happen. Patterson Sewell, one of a couple of goalkeepers in this league that doubles as the goalkeeper coach. Akira Fitzgerald as well for Richmond. Franklin brings it by Walker. Finds Carlini. Gets it back. Good build. Franklin taken down by Polak. Free kick in a good spot here for Toronto. Another look here. In the end, maybe unnecessary from Polak. A heavy touch from Franklin would have likely given possession away. Yates, Antonoglu there as Dallas J instructs the wall. You see the wind whipping on the jerseys. How might that affect this free kick? Yates. Antonoglu looked poised to cross it in. It is lofted up in the air, but Yates combs the hands through the hair. Knows he missed an opportunity there. Stephen Yates, part of this Toronto Academy from 2013 to 2018. Left for college, a year at UConn, a year at Oregon State, before turning pro and signing his first pro contract this past April. Thompson, too heavy inside, looking for Carlini. Ibarra. Booth flicked out towards Gavilanes. John Harkes telling him to settle things down there on the sideline. As it stands, Greenville would be tied on points with Chattanooga in second place, 24 each, but Chattanooga has 2 games in hand on Greenville. And Toronto would slide ahead of New England and Fort Lauderdale on points. Coming into the day, all 3 of those teams tied with 19. But New England would have 2 games in hand on Toronto. Toronto in 5th place as it would stand. That playoff race really tight as we take the turn into the second half of the season officially. McLaughlin turning. Toronto trying to open their tally on BMO Training Ground once again. Most goals of any home team in 2019. Their de facto 3rd home opener of the year. They opened their home ground in Arizona and Florida, and now here. They won the first home opener against North Texas 2-1. They lost the second one 1-0 against Tormenta in Orlando. And today we actually set a record for most venues in a season in League One. This is the 14th venue to host a game. A record we hope will be shattered down the line as this league expands to more and more teams. But for now, 14 the record. Looking to start the second half of the season on a high note, Oakland Roots SC welcomes high-powered Phoenix Rising FC when the USL on ESPN continues. Don't miss any of the action from the Golden State Wednesday, August 4th, 10 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. Lomas dropping deeper to help his team out. Up to Morel. Now Lomas back in the box as a target. Backside towards Gavilanes. And fed along by Franklin. Booth. Cross in. Back post. Ibarra. Turned aside by Petrasso. Fricky sends it over the top. Gets hung up in the wind, stays in. And it's out for a goal kick. Ibarra turns into space, finds Lomas. Lomas. Morel slips on the turf. Slippery was one of the words that was used to describe this turf by Mike Munoz as the Young Reds got out there for a training session this week. We see that come into play there as Morel could not find the footing. McLaughlin forces the turnover on his horse. McLaughlin down the middle. Fricky there. Guides him to the ground. And a foul is called. Might it be a red card as well? It's a yellow. He might have been the last man. Well, that won't matter. He's already on a yellow, so he's gone. My mind went to a straight red for denial of an obvious goal-scoring opportunity. Not remembering he had a yellow. He's gone either way. And Greenville is down a man. Take another look at it. McLaughlin using that pace, gets by Pollock. Taken down by Fricky. Just at the edge of the area. And it's his second yellow. Brad Dobrow sends him off. He has a word with the fourth official as he makes his way off the pitch as well. McLaughlin still on the ground, favoring that left leg. And a great spot here for a free kick. Couldn't ask to place it any better. Luca Petrasso, the only player left standing over it after Franklin and Antonoglu came over for a look. So Petrasso a chance to make this a double whammy for Toronto. A player gone, and as they go a man down, they could go a goal down if he hits this just right. Petrasso deflects out for a corner. Right into the wall. Greenville a man down with 50 to go. As you see the Toronto skyline in the distance. That corner nowhere near the target. That complicates things now for Greenville. It's already a short bench. It's already a team that has seen a lot of guys play more minutes than they really were hoping at this stage of the season because of all the other injuries. And now they have to go the rest of the way, down a man with a very, very limited bench. Just 3 outfield players listed. See what the wind did to that goal kick, gusting up to 22 miles an hour. Fed in towards Lomas. Yates out to Petrasso. John Harks has to, at this point, just be hoping his team could get into the break 0-0 and then tweak things tactically when he has the chance. Antonoglu looking for Petrasso on the overlap. On the road, missing some key starters, limited bench, down a man. Does John Harks just maybe switch to a more defensive shape, keep everybody behind the ball, and hope for at least a point on the road here? But it's a long way to go to defend and hope for a 0-0 draw. Would not be the first 0-0 draw they have on this field. Played here twice in that 2019 season. One was scoreless, and the other was a 3-1 win for Greenville. Goodall shoves Thompson off the ball cleanly. Out for a goal kick. And losing Fricky not only leaves them at a manpower disadvantage, but also talent-wise, all-league first team last year, a fixture on this back line. Pollitt over to Campbell. Petrasso, space for the left winger. Petrasso knocked out for a corner. Murillo back to defend it. Toronto will be looking for a better service than the last corner they had. Taken short. Antonoglu has a go of it. Good pace on that shot. Steered it wide.
The fourth official has indicated there will be
2 minutes of added time here in half number one. Over to McLaughlin. Keeps it alive. McLaughlin one-on-one. Garrett McLaughlin stopped by Dallas J. Rebound was just wide of Antonoglu, who was sitting there waiting for the tap-in. Petrasso chips it in. McLaughlin doesn't head it cleanly. Might have been off Pollock last. And it's off McLaughlin. Out for a goal kick. 1v1, 8 goals on the season, but that's a 2-time Gold Glove, 2-time Goalkeeper of the Year winner in USL League One that McLaughlin's trying to beat. The goals have not come easy lately for Toronto. They had that explosion against North Carolina where McLaughlin had a hat trick in a 4-2 win. But a pair of shutouts wrapped around that against New England. And now scoreless through the first half, nearly here. McLaughlin commits the foul this time on Pollock. Those two have gone at it a couple of times.
Stay red, stay. Nothing behind us. Dante, maybe evaluate.
Might be the last kick of the ball here in this half. And it is. Not even going to let that attack materialize as it's sent into the box. Brad Dobrow blows the whistle for halftime. A lot to think over for John Harks, huddled there with his assistants. His team will go into the locker room scoreless, but down a man. Caleb Patterson-Sewell, a few massive saves early on. Dallas J, a couple of his own at the other end. Scoreless at the half. Back in a moment here on ESPN+. Toronto and Greenville, soccer north of the border in League One once again. It's so great to see this Toronto skyline again. We missed it having been away from this venue for almost 2 years, going all the way back to September of 2019. And Toronto, well, maybe they forgot what it looked like as well with the way they had to start this season. Remember, they are just getting back north of the border. They started the season leasing some territory out in Arizona. They created a little bit of a Arizona rivalry out there with FC Tucson during that southwest swing of the trip where they played against Tucson, North Texas, and Union Omaha. They had a win, a loss, and 3 ties. It was the first leg. They'd go from the southwest over to the southeast, rack up some more frequent flyer miles, 1,900 down southwest, almost 1,900 across to Florida. And in that southeast swing of the trip, 3 wins, 3 losses, 1 tie, where they faced Tormenta and Fort Lauderdale exclusively during that stretch. Then they would start going north again. They'd get back north of the border. They'd be able to train at home, but they still played games on the road. They went down and beat North Carolina. They went to go play a pair against New England. They lost both of those 1-0. 3 cities, 4,805 round-trip miles. They're very happy to be back home in Toronto. And with that, let's take a look back down memory lane when they were last at BMO Field in Toronto. Some milestones from that season, starting on May 19th, the first goal and first win at home against FC Tucson. Jordan Peruzza finished the season with 15 goals, 1 off Ronaldo Damas's Golden Boot pace. Here's one of those on the assist from Jacob Schaffelberg, who went on to be the first Toronto 2 player to make it with the MLS club. That season was kind of like this season, not quite the same. They started with just 6 on the road to begin that year before this, their home opener, a 1-0 win. 10 days later, May 29th, the earliest goal scored, 12th minute in a 3-2 win over North Texas. Patrick Bunk Anderson with a diving header at the doorstep as this one comes across. Right there for him on a silver platter. Ricardo Pepi, Ronaldo Damas net a goal each. Toronto would go on to win in the 77th minute on a goal by Tariq Muhammad. Late goal, but not late enough to make this stroll down memory lane. More on late winners in a moment. And now the calendar turns to June. On June 12th, the biggest comeback, not just in Toronto or BMO history, but in League One history. It was Education Day at the Park, 11 a.m. kickoff. Over 1,000 elementary school students bussed in. Ronaldo Damas scored a hat trick inside of 30 minutes to give North Texas a 3-0 lead. But goals by Griffin Dorsey in the 44th, Matt Serbel in the 73rd, and Franco Ramos Mingo in the 90th brought Toronto all the way back. The kids in attendance, they were won over early on by Damas in North Texas, but they were won back by the Young Reds as the game went along. Now, this is not a late winner, so it doesn't technically make that category, but a late equalizer, 90th minute. Franco Ramos Mingo goes crazy. The referee has to get out of the way here. You see her coming in the picture late. She's trying to settle things down. She realizes, you know what? I'm not settling this celebration down. Then we go to the latest game-winning goal. This came on September 13th in a 3-2 win over Orlando City B. Toronto scored first, OCB scored twice. Toronto equalized, both goals by Jordan Peruzza, but 85th minute, Tanner Hume charged with an own goal. Current Toronto player, Luca Petrasso, tries to take credit. Doesn't go his way in the end, but you know what? Raise your hand towards the camera. Try to take credit. You got the last Toronto touch to it. That counts for something. You can celebrate it if you want. 2 weeks later, the last home goal and home win. The last time we saw a game for Toronto here on BMO Field. This venue had the most total goals scored on it of any venue in the 2019 season. So wouldn't you know, 2 1-0 wins to bookend the season. Franco Ramos Mingo, his 3rd and final goal to win it 1-0. Back in a moment with a look around USL League One.
I am a first-generation student here at Bellevue University. I feel like if I were to have gone to a different university, my experience would have been a lot more stressful and overwhelming, because I feel like I wouldn't have gotten that personal experience that Bellevue University has to offer.
The 18th, the Marcus Sargent goes to his left. Hard strike, and it's in the net. 2-1 Oakland.
Split another massive stop. Shoots, deflected, and a big save from Rawls. Asante takes this on. Oh, that's a tremendous goal from Solo.
We are officially at the halfway mark of the season now, whether it was the date, which was July 20th, the weeks, which was week 15. Now we're at the halfway point in number of games played, 84 of 168. And through that, a lot of teams haven't faced each other. 4 of the 5 weekend matches are teams facing each other for the first time. The player of the week this past week, Robbie Cristo, a brace, including an incredible goal from midfield, gets him on the team. Marco Micheletto brought Tormenta back in that tough one against Greenville. 3-2 win on the road after going down 2-0, headlining this week's Team of the Week. We take a look at the goals leaders. Still everybody chasing Marius Lomas coming into the week. Garrett McLaughlin, Emiliano Terzaghi, Greg Hurst right there with 8, but still at arm's distance from Lomas, 4 goals away. The assist leader, George Acosta's been out for quite some time now for Fort Lauderdale, and so far, nobody's been able to overtake him, but JT Kamara, Jake Rosansky hot on the tails. Just 1 assist back for each of them. Goals against leader, telling you, it's the goalkeeper wearing blue. That's the mojo going for Rashid Nuhu. Less than a goal conceded per game. Everybody else over 1. Everybody chasing Rashid Nuhu at the halfway mark of the season. And we take a look at the scoreboard from this past week. North Carolina, a stunning big win, 4-0. That was the one that really jumped out to me. But Union Omaha out west continues their tear, top of the table. 2-1 win over FC Tucson. And Tucson, part of a big game this weekend against Richmond. Whenever these two teams have played in the past, the games just simply aren't normal. There are late goals, back and forth, whether it's an equalizing goal, a winning goal. Crazy things happen when these two teams play. You will not want to miss this one, as Richmond and Tucson are just in the big glut of teams in the middle of the table, trying to find their way above the playoff line. Huge implications in this one. Darren Sawaski against his former team, FC Tucson. That one will be quite the sight. And the last time these teams played again, just a last-second goal from Richmond. Crazy things happen. That's Saturday, 6:30. And then the big one, Union Omaha in first place against North Texas, the 2019 champions. That's the one to circle in Chattanooga, depending on what they do against Forward Madison. And depending on the result of Union Omaha, we could have a change atop the table here in USL League One. Back in a moment with half number 2 between Greenville and Toronto. Back at BMO Training Ground in Toronto, Ontario. Toronto FC 0, Greenville Triumph 0 at the half in the first game north of the border since September of 2019. We take a look at highlights from half number 1. There were plenty of opportunities for it being a 0-0 game, but both goalkeepers came up massive at multiple different times. Caleb Patterson-Sewell, some of the saves he made defied logic the way his momentum was going. Able to stick the hand down the other way here and stop Lomas. Would not be the last save he made from close range against Marius Lomas, the Golden Boot leader with 12 goals. 34-year-old veteran in goal. Slaps that one away. This one, a little help from his defender as Franklin steps in to prevent that one from going to the far post. Alex Morrell had a lively half. A couple of good balls sent in from Morrell. A shot there blocked by Franklin. 29th minute, here's that other stop on Lomas. The shot from Booth might have been curling towards that back post. Lomas got a very slight touch to it. Right there off the face, upper shoulder of Patterson Sewell. Preserves the clean sheet on one end for Toronto. And then Dallas J on the other end had his hands full with Garrett McLaughlin. This time, McLaughlin was taken down by Fricky. His second yellow. Might have been a red in and of itself. Borderline call there. Last man defensively. But he already had a yellow, so it didn't matter. Yellow equals red. And they're down a man the rest of the way. A couple moments later, McLaughlin powers through that area left vacant by Fricky. And Dallas J makes a big stop one-on-one. McLaughlin has 8 goals on the season, denied a 9th by the 2-time Golden Glove winner and 2-time Goalkeeper of the Year in League 1. 0-0, 5 shots for Toronto, 6 for Greenville. Possession slightly in Toronto's favor. But the most important stat right now at the very bottom, 1 red card against Greenville. They're down a man, and they will be so the rest of the way unless Toronto slips up. Greenville, a very disciplined team defensively. Would not at all be surprised if they're able to hunker down and maintain a clean sheet as the whistle is blown to begin half number 2. But the main thing going against Greenville is the player they lost is arguably their best center back in Brendan Fricky. Had they have lost a winger or a striker, maybe a different story. But to go down a man with a limited starting lineup and a short bench and have it be your main starting center back, that could spell trouble. Kobe Franklin on that right flank. He and Luca Petrasso on the left flank. And very busy first halves. Again, Toronto, a team that likes to build from the wings and then get balls centrally to the likes of McLaughlin. Dante Campbell pressing forward. Kosi Thompson in the box. This crowd has grown as the game has gone along, mostly family, friends of the players. Some other Toronto players in the academy as well. And that was something that Mike Munoz spent a lot of time talking about this week. He got a text from his wife during the week that she was very excited to finally watch him coach in person again. The players, same thing from their parents, their girlfriends, their friends, finally able to come out and see them play again. Having spent the first month or so of the season in Arizona, after that, a month in Florida, and a couple of road games against New England and North Carolina. But back now at BMO Training Ground. Such a mental, emotional boost for the players. And really leaves Mike Munoz excited for what the second half of the season has in store. They got through the first half, above the playoff line. He said it was something that nobody expected. All of the media in their preseason predictions had Toronto finishing dead last in the league. He was candid with us in our chat this week. He made sure the team was aware of that. And here they are after that rough stretch at the beginning with all the travel above the playoff line, now at home where they have a considerable home field advantage. What does the second half have in store? A show to put on in front of the family and friends. And it's a team that's not far off from maybe hosting a playoff game as well. In 6th place now, a win here, and they're knocking on the door of 3rd and 4th place. Top 6 teams make the playoffs. Seeds 1 and 2 have a bye in the first round. 3 and 4 have home games. Curich to Yates. Ibarra. Morel, give and go. Ibarra again. Lomas on the run, looking for it. Reminder, Greenville again down a man. Second yellow, 39th minute. Charge to Fricky. Franklin. Thompson. Carlini making the run in the middle. It goes that way. Carlini taken down. Another free kick in a dangerous spot for Toronto. This will be their third from this territory on the field. One went into the wall. One was skied over the bar. Yates strikes it, and much like the first one, skies it. For as windy as it is, Greenville has tried a lot of those long balls direct over the top. There's just no telling where the ball's going to go once it gets that high up into the sky. We've seen goal kicks that were stopped dead in their tracks. We've seen a couple like that where it just carries and carries and carries. 13-mile-an-hour winds, gusts up to 22 miles an hour. Open flat land here at BMO Training Ground. Once the wind starts going, there's nothing to stop it. Kurich takes the space. Down the flank for Petrasso. Petrasso one-on-one with Booth. Gets by him. Petrasso clips the ball in. Header just wide. It was Thompson coming across. And Petrasso dangerous again down that left side. So tough with the ball at his feet, Petrasso. Alice Jade just sat there and watched, hoped it would go wide, and it did. Morel has Ibarra as an option. Bounces right back to Morel. Trying to keep it in at the end line. Third game this season that Greenville has gone down a man. One of those games turned out to be a win, actually. 2-1 over North Carolina. It was Alex Morel who picked up the red card in that game. And actually, they're 2-0 when they've gotten a red card this year. Their season opener, Murillo picked up a red, and it was a 1-0 win over Richmond. Inside, and it's Murillo who clears it. After Thompson tried centering it. Not really a great formula for success going down a man, but Greenville 2-0 so far this season when it's happened. Not a bad ball squared by Thompson. McLaughlin was a couple of yards behind it. Corner sent in. Good ball. Paulitz got his head to it. Carlini really deep in the formation now. Started the day as a striker up with McLaughlin. And another corner won by Toronto. Can't watch the match? Turn on Sirius XM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source of soccer radio, featuring Ray Hudson, Tony Meola, Rodney Marsh, and USL All Access with Mike Watson and Devin Kerr every Tuesday at 7 Eastern. You can also hear live action from the USL, MLS, Premier League, and more, all on Sirius XM FC 157 and the Sirius XM app. Franklin supplies the service again. It's another good ball. It's in there towards McLaughlin. Pinballing around. Franklin nods it. Shouts for handball. But another corner just from the other side this time for Toronto. Dallas J battling some bodies, battling the sun, battling the wind. Franklin curls it in, and it's headed over the bar. Looked like it was Thompson again who got his head to it. Chances have been coming for Toronto. Up a man. Momentum certainly in their favor. But with Marius Lomas on the other side, cannot leave yourself vulnerable to a counter. Otherwise, you might be picking the ball up out of your own net. Leads the league with 12 goals on the season. Franklin. Carlini tripped up. Just a throw-in. Franklin trying to get Yates to join the attack. Throws it back for Paulitz. Now Kurich. Those two center backs haven't had much work to do ever since Toronto went up a man. Before that, they were under some heavy pressure. Patterson Sewell had to make a few big stops. Thompson works his way through, weaves in and out of defenders. Heavy touch in the end, led him right into Dallas J. Franklin past three defenders, taken down from behind, no call. Carlini couldn't keep it alive. Nearly ricocheted to McLaughlin off of Franklin's backside. Nearly a quarter hour gone in this second half as we approach the hour mark. And to illustrate that point that I was saying before, with these center backs not having to do much work in this second half for Toronto, over 80% of the possession has gone Toronto's way in this second half. Safe to say, Greenville is just putting everything behind the ball, hoping for a counter here or there. But right now, they have their sights set on earning a point with a 0-0 draw. Threaded through, Petrasso across, Pollock the intervention. Thompson ends up in the net. He hoped the ball would end up in the net, but it never got through. Another corner for Toronto. Franklin sends it in again, and McLaughlin puts it wide. Change taking place for Greenville. Cole McLagan enters. Marius Lomas exits. In case you needed any more indication that Greenville is really just going to try and pack it in right now and play for the draw. Cole McLagan, one of the new faces in for Greenville this season. You see him slot in there on the back line. Fricke got the red card in the 39th minute, second yellow rather. Same effect in the end. And now Lomas lifted for another defender to take Fricke's spot. Two-thirds of the way there, Greenville. And what would be a pretty big point to earn with how tight things are atop the standings. Past the hour mark from BMO Training Ground. Joe Malfa here with you on ESPN+. If Toronto could come away with the 3 points, they would just be one behind Greenville. Greenville really at a fork in the road right now in their season. It falls for Booth. Booth trying to turn, back to goal, lays it off. At this stage, Greenville is equally as close to the top of the table as they are from falling into that very crowded middle pack. So even if it's just a point and a 0-0 draw, really helps their case. And to travel internationally with a very limited bench, important faces missing from the starting lineup, and going down a man that early, I have to imagine a 0-0 draw would feel like a win for Greenville. McLaughlin. Contact top of the box, play on. McLaughlin lifts it across. Dallas J is there. Goodall was hit in the chest there in that collision with McLaughlin. John Harkes noted that the busiest people in the organization so far this season has unfortunately been the training staff. They're out there again now for a look at Goodall. Ooh, just took a knee right into the chest. Hopefully it's just the wind knocked out of him and he's okay to continue. It seems to be the case. Just walks it off on his own. Smiles. And just waits to be summoned back on. Pollock. He and Murillo will have to really lock it in now on that backside. McLagan finds some space. Maybe a chance here to get an opportunity for Greenville. Few and far between in this half. McLagan himself. It's blocked. Corner coming for Greenville. Gavilanes chips it back post. Header is wide. Ibarra claiming it was last off of Petrasso. Ibarra has acquitted himself nicely today, stepping into the starting lineup. Petrasso gets it back from Antonoglu. Now Kuric. Paulitz. Kuric. Yates has some space. Ibarra pressures. And Ibarra nearly won it cleanly. That last little grab in the end. And for kicking the ball away, I believe Ibarra will pick up the yellow. That's a tough call against Ibarra. Yellow comes for kicking the ball away afterwards, but tough break to even have the foul called against him in the first place. Good all through. Sends Gavilanes into space. The last couple of minutes, Greenville has sprung out of their half. Can they poach one the other way and steal 3 points? Nothing has gone their way in this second half. It's been one-way traffic the entire time in favor of Toronto. With the way Greenville defends as a unit, even though they're down a man, if they can find one, they might not concede. And as quirky of a stat as it is, they are 2-0 this season when they go down a man in a game. Thompson across to McLaughlin. Gets a flick on it. But it takes a deflection into the arms of Dallas J. 80% of the possession going Toronto's way in this second half. And with Lomas, the striker, lifted for McLagan, who's defensive-minded. You can see where Greenville's intentions are in this one now. And in no way do I mean that as a slight towards Greenville, trying to play for a 0-0 draw here. On the road internationally. Limited bench, limited starting lineup, down a man. You take that point, you say thank you, and you get out of there. Any coach in their right mind would try the same thing, and John Harkes will pick up a yellow himself. Emi Antonoglu exits the match. Mehdi Asusi enters. Asusi's status was uncertain coming into this one with a knock, but there's our answer. Good to go, at least for the last 20 minutes. McLagan tries sending a ball in. Booth just puts it towards Patterson Sewell, battling the sun and the wind, but able to corral it. Carlini over the top. Yates. Pollock flies in to win it. Gavilanes can't get by Franklin. Good step by McLagan. He's helped spring a couple of attacks from that back line since he's checked in for Lomas. Into the 73rd minute now, which makes the goalless drought at the moment for Toronto 170 minutes. They last scored in the 80th minute of that 4-2 win over North Carolina. Shutout against New England. So far held scoreless today. McLaughlin had a hat trick in that one, that 4-2 win. And before that game against North Carolina, it was another 1-0 defeat against New England. So if this scoreline holds, that would be 3 games out of 4 for Toronto without a goal. Campbell feeds it out to Thompson. Overlap from Franklin. Franklin on the ground. It's chipped. Took a deflection maybe. And it's a corner coming for Toronto. Franklin again on the corner. High lofted ball. Morrell nods it away. Petrasso. Franklin sends it in. Goodall gets ahead to it. The good group defending from Greenville. They're down a man. They have been since the 39th minute, but they're not at all making it easy on Toronto, who has seen over 80% of the ball in the second half. McLaughlin keeps it in. Franklin. Shouts for handball. Unlucky bounce for Greenville, but no call made. McLaughlin fell on top of that one after the redirect. Just a quarter hour to go now here on ESPN Plus from BMO Training out in Toronto, Ontario. Joe Malfa here with you this afternoon into evening. Toronto up a man, looking to go up a goal. Thompson to the end line, all the way to the back post. Campbell can't get it under the bar. Look at that last shout for handball. Right there at the end, maybe, on the upper part of the arm of McLagan. A good non-call for me from the official. No intent there. Didn't really hit the arm all that much. Franklin wanted to give and go with Thompson, continued his run, never got the ball back. Campbell nearly gives it away to Booth. Carlini, good step inside past McLagan, who recovers well defensively. Franklin, Thompson. Thompson trying to get past Goodall. He does. In the box now. Cuts it back. Yates. Yates, the shot deflected on its way through. It's another corner coming for Toronto. The United Soccer League, all 12 League One clubs and its players stand together in support of diversity, inclusivity, equality, and compassion. For more information on the USL's commitment to change through the United Against Racism campaign, visit uslsoccer.com. Short corner taken quickly. Carlini back out to Franklin, whipped in. Walker clears it. Volley attempt from Kurich. Half-hearted. Paulitz has answered one question at center back for Mike Munoz through the way he played early in the season into now. The question was who would be that pair next to him. Kurich has really taken that mantle. A lot of space here. Carlini. Just a bad back pass to Petrasso. Takes all the momentum of that attack away, and they build again from the back through Kurich. His pass is wayward. Apologies from across the field to Franklin. contact. Carlini somehow comes away with it. Campbell all the way across. Finds Thompson. Inside the shot. Dallas J need a lot more than that to beat Dallas J. Shots for handball from Greenville. That would have set them up with a free kick in a dangerous spot. They might need a break like that to try to get another shot in this one. Murillo picks up a yellow. Starting to enter the territory of where we saw the latest game-winning goal scored, as we showed you at halftime here at BMO Training Ground. Came in the 85th minute, September 13th, 2019, a 3-2 win for Toronto over Orlando City B. In the 81st minute now, Murillo. Corner for Greenville. Gavilanes and Morel are over there. Gavilanes sends it into the box. Booth keeps it alive. Walker, heavy touch. Transition opportunity for Toronto. Pollock steps in, wins it cleanly. And then Thompson shown a yellow. There's the first bit of contact between Pollock and Thompson. And Thompson just came right back in kicking. Morel trying to find space. Morel the shot. Pulls it wide. For the W, the USL recently announced the formation of USLW League, providing increased equity and opportunity for women looking to pursue careers in soccer, both on and off the pitch. Comprised of clubs from across the Championship, League 1, League 2, and new expansion markets. W League is set to begin play in 2022 in more than 30 communities across the U.S. Head over to USLWleague.com to learn more. Yates was pulled from behind by Walker. That will surely be a yellow. But a good veteran move by Walker. Toronto had a numbers advantage brewing. Carlini. Petrasso. Susi hasn't done much since he subbed into this one. Ball really hasn't found him in the middle. Tip of the cap, though, to Greenville. The defensive posture they've maintained this second half. Nothing has come easy for Toronto. This one bounces through, but it's cleared. Good all there. Booth trying to break out. Look at that run from Campbell coming back to win it. But the foul called against Campbell. And now everybody getting a yellow. Greenville has gone 45 minutes down a man. Just a few more to go before they successfully earn a point, despite the circumstances. Ibarra, McLagan on the run all the way across. Morel will keep it in. Gavilanes in the box, calling for it. Morel comes out himself with it, still with it. Morel chips it backside, and there's nobody there in a black jersey. You wonder if frustration and impatience is setting in for Toronto. They've allowed Greenville a couple of chances in transition to come down the other way. The attacks never really materialized into any golden opportunities for Greenville. But still, the fact that they're able to get out of their own end now, as this game has worn on more. Only 5 matches have ended in scoreless draws so far this season. 3 of them have belonged to North Carolina. Petrasso shouts for handball. Nope. Carlini powers through. Petrasso tries to win it back. And now a foul goes against Carlini. If Toronto could find a winner now, it'd be the latest game winner they've scored here on their home field. Walker, left by Ibarra. Goodall sends it in. Campbell gives it away in the middle. Pollitt's there to win it. Campbell out wide, looking for Petrasso. Didn't get it there. Goodall down in some pain. The captain, Walker, doubling as the physio here until she gets out there, helping him stretch it out. Goodall gingerly walking his way off the field. Back to the action. Asusi gets it. Thompson on Morel. Thompson sends it in. Carlini can't work past Pollock. Veteran defender strong at the back. Yates As a Susi, top of the box. It is a Susi. Back towards Yates. Back to goal. Dug out. 90th minute now from BMO Trading Ground. We wait word on stoppage time. Morrell defending Thompson. Wins it. And just clears it. And now Morrell down. Paul Rothrock has made his way out onto the field for Toronto. Patrick Cavelli entered for Jacob Goodall on the Greenville side. Stephanie Yates gave way for Rothrock as we wait word on stoppage time, still past the 90-minute mark now. 5 minutes at the end of this one. Greenville has been down a man since Brendan Fricke was sent off in the 39th minute. This will have to feel like a victory for them if they can leave BMO Training Ground with a point. Faces missing from the starting lineup, very limited bench, and down a man for over 50 minutes. Thompson, past Morrell, still battling for it. Morrell puts in a good challenge. Corner issued to Toronto. Franklin sends it in. McLaughlin was there. And Ibarra clears it all the way down to Patterson Sewell. 3 to go of added time. Who's that off of last? Gavilanes, Petrasso, both pleading their case. Goal kick. Gavilanes gave a look over to the bench. And he is heading off. William Mejia checks in for a cameo at the end here. Paulitz. Over the top from Franklin. Petrasso has to backtrack for it. Asusi lays it off Curich. Franklin and Thompson. Thompson and Morrell have gone at it a couple of times. They go at it again. And it's last off of Booth. Another corner with a minute to go for Toronto. Running out of chances now in this one. Franklin lofts it in. Still alive, but Jay is there. A weak header from Paulitz. Rothrock tried to cloud the vision, but Dallas Jay emerges with it, and in no hurry to get it back into play. Taken away by Walker, and just sent to safety by McLagan. Kurich, they'll hurry for one more chance perhaps. Franklin, Pollock heads it away. Cleared further. Past the 5 minutes. Asusi. Franklin. We waited nearly 2 years for the return of League One soccer north of the border. We'll have to wait a little bit longer for the first goal. Greenville and Toronto play it to a scoreless draw. And what a performance from Greenville, going down a man in the 39th minute. Seeing this one through to a 0-0 draw. John Harkes, Mike Munoz, they take a point each for their respective squads. Wasn't easy for Greenville, but they salvaged something from it. Toronto would have wanted more, but their goalless drought continues. We'll be back in a moment here on ESPN+. Toronto 0, Greenville 0 in soccer's return to Canada. The Young Reds greet the fans. First time they've been here at the park to see this team play since September 27, 2019. Emotional weight lifted off their shoulders to be back home. But they end up in a 0-0 draw to start things off against Greenville. We take a look at the full-time highlights in this one. There were chances, plenty of them for both teams, especially in the first half. Greenville had the better chances early on. Once they went down a man, of course things changed. 80% of the possession from there on out went Toronto's way. Lomas had this chance near the half-an-hour mark. That was the first of two big saves Patterson Sewell would make on Lomas from point-blank range. 12 goals on the season, leading the league. You'd expect him to finish that one. And a couple minutes later, similar spot, same result. Two chances in 3 minutes for the league's most prolific scorer this year from that close of a distance. but it's still 0-0. 39th minute, McLaughlin forces his way through. Bricky is shown a second yellow. They'd have to go 50 minutes down a man, but they did so successfully. 45 plus 1. McLaughlin had what was Toronto's best chance, and Dallas J with the massive stop. McLaughlin scored 3 goals in the 4-2 win over North Carolina. And that's still the last time that Toronto has scored this season. It's been quite the drought now. 3 of their last 4 games, they've been held scoreless. They had 19 shots, only 3 on target. Massive possession advantage because of the red card, but hat tip to Greenville. On the road, limited roster, down a man. They salvage a point on the road against Toronto, and it's a big point in the standings. It keeps them 4 points clear of Tormenta and Toronto, and it ties them on points with Chattanooga, even though Chattanooga does have a couple of games in hand. Union Omaha still pacing the league, and Toronto still above that playoff line. The rest of the slate here this week: Richmond, Tucson. The next game we'll see on ESPN Plus, 6:30. 2 more later that night. Omaha and Chattanooga, 2 of the league's top 2 teams in action back-to-back. And then Sunday, the week ends, Fort Lauderdale, North Carolina. It took nearly 2 years, but we saw soccer's return north of the border in USL League One. But we didn't see any goals. We saw chances, but it's a 0-0 draw between Toronto FC and Greenville Triumph. Hard-fought game, 1 point either way. For all of my incredible crew, I'm Joe Malva signing off from Toronto. Come back for a loaded weekend here in USL League One, 6:30 p.m. tomorrow on ESPN Plus.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League League One cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League League One. This copyrighted